Dear State Secretary Westlund, distinguished members of the Swedish delegation, ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by thanking you for the invitation to address your annual conference. I understand that a very large number of participants have registered. That in itself sends a powerful message. The circular economy is no longer a niche discussion. It is central to industrial competitiveness. And the scale of the challenge shows why this discussion matters so much. Every year, the European Union uses around 4.6 billion tons of materials. To sustain this level of material use, we extract more than 5 billion tons of natural resources, and we still, on top, rely significantly on imports. Yet only a small fraction of these materials flows back into the economy through recycling, less than 1 billion tons. At the same time, we generate more than 2 billion tons of emissions, and large amounts of valuable materials are lost through waste, incineration, or dissipative uses. This clearly shows that our economy is still largely linear. Too many resources enter the system, and too few circulate back into productive use. This is bad for the environment, and it is a lost opportunity for the economy. This is exactly why leadership at national level is so important. I was very pleased to meet you, State Secretary Westlund, in Brussels in December last year. Our exchange confirmed something I strongly believe. Sweden is not only committed to the circular transition, it is determined to lead it. Let me point out that Sweden is a front-runner in environmental policy and legislation and takes promising steps to move towards a circular economy. You are one of the leaders in phasing out landfilling. Today, only 1% of your municipal waste ends up in landfills. This is a strong example for many countries that are still heavily dependent on landfilling and demonstrate that change is possible. You have also developed effective approaches to waste prevention and separate collection of many waste streams. These are fundamental pillars of circularity. Without prevention and high-quality separate collection, recycling systems cannot function efficiently. At the same time, we hope to also see continued progress from Sweden to reach the EU's targets on recycling and preparations for reuse. In our early warning reports, the Commission highlighted risks that Sweden may not fully meet some future targets. We recommended additional measures, including expanding waste treatment capacity and reducing reliance on incineration. We will continue to work closely with Swedish authorities and stakeholders and support your efforts. Now, let me briefly outline what the European Commission is preparing next. This year, we will present a proposal for a Circular Economy Act. The goal is to speed up Europe's transition to a circular economy. This will aim to reduce our dependence on imported raw materials, lower barriers within the single market, and strengthen markets for secondary raw materials. If we achieve this, we will be able to attract more investments into the EU's circular economy. Currently, these amount to some 113 billion euros per year from the private sector, and we need some 80 billion more per year. Reducing dependency is especially important. We learned a difficult lesson when it came to oil and gas. We must avoid similar dependencies when it comes to critical raw materials. Circularity is therefore not only about the environment, it is also about economic security. We should not allow the same dependency to develop with other materials than energy. As set out in the Clean Industrial Deal, the Circular Economy Act will include both material-specific and horizontal interventions. Let me give you an example. e-waste, or what we call waste from electric and electronic equipment. This is one of the EU's fastest growing waste streams, increasing around 2% annually, of which less than 38% is collected and only 30% recycled. Yet, only a limited share is properly collected and recycled. Based on the evaluation of the WE directive, we have identified 5 key areas for improvement. First, broadening the scope to reflect new types of equipment. Second, improving collection rates. Third, boosting recovery of critical raw materials. Fourth, reforming extended producer responsibility systems. And lastly, harmonizing treatment standards. As part of the Circular Economy Act, we therefore plan to review and modernize the current rules on e-waste. We're also looking at similar improvements in other sectors, such as construction and metals. In addition, we are working on horizontal measures. First, we want to simplify and better align extended producer responsibility schemes across the EU. Why? Because today, companies often face different rules in different member states, which creates unnecessary complexity and costs. By making these systems clearer, more harmonized and more digital, we can reduce administrative burdens, therefore also strengthen the single market, and finally support more circular product design across Europe. Secondly, we aim to make it easier for materials to move from waste status to secondary raw material status. Clearer end-of-waste and byproduct rules across the single market will reduce costs and help create economies of scale. Now, the Circular Economy Act is expected to come in the second half of 2026, and of course will be supported by a full impact assessment. But we have also placed strong emphasis on stakeholder engagement. A public consultation and call for evidence were conducted with roughly 1,000 companies, associations, and citizens providing input. We also conducted a more targeted consultation and are currently running a dedicated SME panel to better understand the challenges faced by smaller companies, which is open until the 16th of March, so you can participate, and further structured dialogues, including a final stakeholder workshop and a youth check, will follow. So let me thank you for organizing this conference. The circular economy is a shared European project, and Sweden's leadership and engagement are vital to its success. I wish you a very productive event.